Let me ask you something. Do you really want to spend your life chasing someone who can't see your worth? Or do you want to rise so high that they regret the moment they ever took you for granted? Because the truth is, the moment you stop waiting, that's the moment they start missing you. You see, there's something most people don't want to admit. We don't truly recognize the value of someone when they're standing right in front of us. We notice convenience, we notice comfort, we notice familiarity, but value, real, deep, undeniable value, that's something most of us don't see until it's gone. And that's the paradox of human nature. The things we have every day, the people we think will always be there, the love we assume will never leave us. We don't stop and appreciate it until the silence replaces the noise, until the absence replaces the presence. That's when reality hits. That's when regret sets in. That's when people realize what they had was not ordinary, it was rare. Think about it. When you're always available, always giving, always showing up no matter how you're treated, your presence becomes background noise. It's like music playing in a cafe, nice, familiar, always there, but no one notices it until it stops. Suddenly, the silence feels uncomfortable. Suddenly, people look up and say, "Wait, where did that go?" That's how it works in relationships, too. The more you're taken for granted, the less they notice your light. But the moment you pull it away, the moment you stop overgiving, the moment you walk away, that's when the emptiness starts echoing. And that echo is powerful. That echo is what makes them realize your value. See, when you remove yourself from someone who didn't appreciate you, you teach them the hardest lesson, life without you. And that's a lesson no words can deliver. You can talk, you can explain, you can beg them to see your worth, but nothing drives the point home like your absence. It's when they reach for your comfort and it's not there. It's when they look for your support and it's gone. It's when they realize the things they dismissed were the very things holding them up. That's when the weight of your value lands on them. And by then, it's too late. Let me tell you something. People don't miss your constant presence. They miss the moments when they can no longer rely on it. That's why absence is louder than words. That's why silence cuts deeper than arguments. Because when you step back, when you pull your energy away, you force people to sit with themselves. And in that stillness, they begin to recognize the void. They begin to recognize that what you brought to the table wasn't just love, it was peace. It wasn't just effort, it was consistency. It wasn't just attention, it was devotion. And when they realize they can't find that anywhere else, that's when missing you begins. But here's the catch. If you never step away, if you never create that absence, they may never see your value. Because familiarity blinds us. It tricks us into thinking what we have is ordinary. It tricks us into thinking what we see every day will always be there tomorrow. And if you don't create space, if you don't put distance, then they'll keep on assuming, they'll keep on taking, they'll keep on dismissing. That's why sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not speak louder, but grow quieter. Not give more, but pull back. Not fight harder, but walk away. Absence is the teacher, and it teaches louder than any speech you could ever give. And let me remind you, your value doesn't change whether someone sees it or not. Your worth doesn't rise or fall based on their recognition. You were valuable before they realized it, and you'll be valuable after they regret it. But the realization, the moment they start to miss you, that only comes when the presence they once overlooked becomes the absence they can't ignore. That's when the truth hits. That's when the pain stings. That's when the value they failed to recognize stands taller than ever. Because your absence, your silence, your distance, It speaks in ways your presence never could. You've been asking the wrong question. You've been asking, when will he notice me? When will he miss me? When will he come back? But the real question, the life-changing question, is this: when will I start noticing myself? Because the truth is, the moment you turn that focus inward, the moment you stop chasing after someone else's attention and start pouring into your own growth, your own peace, your own joy, that's the moment everything changes. That's when your glow returns. That's when your power rises. That's when the game shifts in your favor. See, too many of us live waiting for someone else to validate us. We wait for the text. We wait for the call. We wait for the apology. We wait for the moment they finally admit they were wrong. But let me tell you something powerful. The waiting keeps you stuck. It keeps you small. It keeps you trapped in a cycle where your happiness depends on someone else's decision. And if your happiness depends on another human being, you've handed over the keys to your life. You've made yourself a passenger in your own story, but when you shift the focus back to you, your dreams, your healing, your purpose, you grab the wheel again, you take control, and here's the secret. That shift doesn't just heal you, it transforms how the world sees you. Because when you're no longer desperate for someone's validation, when you're no longer begging to be noticed, you carry yourself differently, you walk differently, you speak differently, you radiate confidence without even trying. And people notice that. They notice the shift in your energy. They notice the way you're no longer chasing, no longer clinging, no longer begging. Suddenly, they're drawn to you. Suddenly, they want to know what changed. And sometimes, that's the very moment the one who overlooked you begins to feel your absence in a way they never did before. But here's the truth. You don't shift your focus inward for them. You do it for you. Because your life is too valuable to be wasted waiting. Your dreams are too important to be delayed for someone who can't see your worth. Your healing is too urgent to be postponed for someone else's confusion. The inward shift is about taking your power back. It's about deciding that your growth will not be put on hold for another person's indecision. It's about saying, I choose me even if they don't. And that choice, that radical act of self-respect, is the spark that lights your transformation. The shift inward also changes the way you love yourself. When you stop asking, when will he miss me? And start asking, what do I need to feel whole again? You begin to treat yourself the way you always wanted to be treated. You begin to prioritize your peace, your mental health, your passions, your relationships with people who do show up for you. You begin to rebuild the confidence that was chipped away by neglect. And with every step you take toward yourself, you reclaim the parts of you that you gave away for free. You gather your strength back piece by piece, and in time you look in the mirror and realize you were the love you were searching for all along. So don't wait for him to notice you. Don't wait for him to miss you. Don't wait for him to wake up, because while you're waiting, life is moving, opportunities are passing, blessings are calling your name. Shift the focus. Pour into yourself so deeply that missing you becomes the least of your concerns. Because here's the truth. Once you truly focus inward, once you truly grow, heal, and rise, by the time he misses you, you won't even recognize the version of yourself that once waited. You'll be too busy becoming everything you were meant to be. Energy is everything. It speaks louder than your words, it travels further than your actions, and it shapes the way people respond to you without you even realizing it. The energy you carry, the confidence, the self-respect, the peace, or the desperation, the neediness, the fear, it all gets transmitted before you even open your mouth. And here's the truth. If you carry the energy of chasing, begging, or needing someone to notice you, you don't pull them closer. You push them further away. But when you carry the energy of knowing who you are, knowing your worth, and standing tall in your own presence, that's when attraction begins. That's when they lean in instead of pulling away. See, people don't respond to your demands, they respond to your energy. You can say all the right words, you can dress all the right ways, you can play every game you've been told to play. But if your energy is insecure, if your energy says, "Please don't leave me, I can't live without you," then that's the message they receive. On the other hand, when your energy says, "I know who I am, I know what I deserve, I don't chase, I attract," suddenly the whole dynamic changes. That's when curiosity rises. That's when respect begins. That's when attraction grows, not because you begged for it, but because your energy commanded it. Think about the most magnetic people you've ever met. They weren't the loudest. They weren't the ones constantly trying to prove themselves. They were the ones who walked in with calm confidence, who didn't need to chase attention because attention naturally came to them. That's energy. That's the power of being rooted in yourself. When you know who you are, you don't need to force anyone to recognize it. Your energy speaks before you do, and the truth is that energy is irresistible. That's the energy that makes someone who once overlooked you suddenly wonder, "Why can't I stop thinking about them?" But here's the problem. Most of us drain our energy by giving it to people who don't appreciate it. We pour and pour and pour until we're empty, and then we wonder why we feel invisible. The truth is, the more you chase, the weaker your energy becomes. The more you beg, the more your power slips away. That's why pulling back is so powerful. Not because you're playing games, but because you're protecting your energy. You're saying, "My spirit, my peace, my strength, it's not free for anyone to abuse." And the moment you protect your energy, the moment you hold it sacred, people feel it. They notice it, they're drawn to it, because real attraction is not about giving endlessly. It's about standing so firmly in your worth that people feel it without you saying a word. Energy also creates contrast. When you stop flooding someone with attention, they feel the difference. They notice the silence where your voice used to be. They notice the absence where your presence used to fill the room, and that shift, that energetic shift, forces them to confront what they lost. Suddenly, your energy becomes a memory. It becomes something they crave again. They may not even understand it at first, but they feel it. And the more you elevate your energy, through growth, through healing, through becoming your best self, the stronger that attraction becomes. Not just with them, but with everyone you encounter. So hear me clearly. Stop chasing, stop begging, stop handing your energy to those who don't value it. Instead, invest it in yourself. Protect it, nurture it, elevate it. Because the right energy doesn't just attract attention. It attracts respect. It attracts opportunities. It attracts love that matches your value. And here's the beauty of it. Once your energy shifts, you'll notice the world around you shifts too. People who once ignored you will start to notice. People who once dismissed you will start to rethink, and yes, he may start missing you. But by then, you'll understand something deeper. The real attraction was never about him. It was about you standing fully in your power, radiating an energy so strong, so undeniable, that the world can't help but take notice. Attention is easy, respect is rare, anybody can get attention. You can dress a certain way, post the right picture, say the right words, and for a moment you'll have eyes on you. But respect is deeper. Respect is lasting. Respect means someone doesn't just notice you for a moment. They value you, They honor you. They know they can't treat you carelessly without losing something great. And here's the truth. Too many of us settle for attention when what we really deserve is respect. Too many of us mistake someone looking at us for someone truly seeing us. See, attention is surface level. It's quick, it's shallow, it's temporary. Respect is built on how you carry yourself, on the standards you set, on the way you refuse to be treated as less than you deserve. Respect is not about how loud you can demand it. It's about how firmly you live in it. When you hold yourself with dignity, when you refuse to tolerate games, when you walk away from anyone who dishonors your worth, you don't just get attention, you earn respect. And the person who once overlooked you, the one who thought you'd always be available, suddenly has to face a new reality. You won't accept their scraps anymore. And here's the powerful thing about respect. When you demand it, attention follows naturally. People pay attention to what they respect. When you respect yourself enough to say, I will not be treated this way, I will not shrink for anyone, I will not beg for love, suddenly they see you differently. They see your strength. They see your backbone. They see that you are not someone to play with. That's when missing you becomes real, not because they can't see you, but because they can no longer reach you without giving the respect you've always deserved. But if all you ever wanted was attention, you'll always be chasing. You'll always be performing. You'll always be trying to do more, give more, show more, hoping they'll notice. And the sad part, they may notice, but they still won't value it. Because attention without respect is like light without warmth. It fades quickly and leaves you cold. That's why you can't build your life on who notices you. You build it on who honors you, who values your presence, who treats you as someone irreplaceable. Respect lasts where attention dies. The moment you stop chasing attention and start demanding respect, you shift the entire relationship dynamic. You move from being someone's option to being someone's priority. You move from being taken for granted to being taken seriously. And sometimes that means letting go. Sometimes that means walking away from people who will never respect you no matter how much attention they give you. But let me tell you something, that walk is powerful, because when you leave behind attention, you make room for respect. When you walk away from games, you open space for love that honors you and the person who lost you. They don't just miss your presence. They miss the respect they failed to give. So don't measure your worth by how many eyes are on you. Measure it by the respect you command when you stand tall, when you know your value, when you refuse to shrink. Respect is the real foundation of love, of loyalty, of lasting connection. Attention fades, respect remains, and when someone misses you, let it not be because you entertained them for a moment. Let it be because they failed to respect what they should have cherished. When you start elevating, when you begin to rise, something powerful happens. You naturally separate, not because you hate anyone, not because you're trying to cut people off, but because growth has a way of creating distance. The things you once tolerated don't sit right anymore. The games you once accepted feel heavy now. The people who once drained you suddenly feel out of place in your life. And that separation, it's not a punishment, it's a sign of progress. It's proof that you're moving forward. Elevation requires separation. See, everybody wants the glow, but not everyone wants the grind that comes with it. When you decide to heal, when you decide to grow, when you decide to focus on yourself, you start climbing higher. And not everyone can breathe at that altitude. Some people are comfortable at the level they're on. They want you to stay the same, stay accessible, stay small, because your growth makes them confront their own stagnation. But when you elevate, you can't carry everybody with you. Some people will fall away, some relationships will fade, and yes, some people who once thought they owned your time will start realizing that they no longer have access to you. That's the separation, and here's the thing, they will feel it. The person who overlooked you, the one who thought you'd always be available, they will notice the difference. Because while they're staying in the same place, you're moving. You're building, you're evolving, and nothing stings more than realizing someone you thought you could take for granted has outgrown you. That's when the missing begins, not because you begged for it, but because your elevation made the absence undeniable. They look at where you are now, they look at who you've become, and they realize they can't reach you anymore. But here's where you must be strong. Don't shrink yourself just to stay connected. Don't lower your standards just to remain accessible. Don't dim your light just to make someone else comfortable. Because every time you elevate, you create opportunities, blessings, and doors that weren't open before. If you stop climbing to hold onto someone who doesn't value you, you're trading your destiny for their comfort. And that's too high a price to pay. You weren't created to stay small. You were created to rise, and rise requires separation. Sometimes the separation hurts. Sometimes it feels like loss. But in reality, it's making room. Room for people who match your energy, room for love that respects you, room for friendships that pour back into you, room for opportunities that align with your calling. The separation is not rejection, it's protection. It's the universe, God, life. Whatever you believe in clearing the space so your elevation won't be weighed down. And while others are busy missing the old version of you, you'll be too busy stepping into the new version of yourself to even look back. So embrace the separation, don't fight it, don't fear it, let people miss you, let them realize what they lost, because your rise is not about proving them wrong, it's about proving yourself right. It's about stepping fully into the person you were always meant to become. And the truth is, when you elevate, some people will miss you, but they won't be able to reach you, not because you're cruel, but because you're no longer where they left you. You've climbed higher, and that's where you belong. By the time he finally starts missing you, you'll already be gone. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because here's the truth. He won't miss you when you're pouring into him every day. He won't miss you when you're always available, always calling, always checking, always proving. He'll miss you when you stop. He'll miss you when the access he abused is denied. He'll miss you when he realizes the attention, the love, the devotion he thought was guaranteed is no longer his to enjoy. But here's the twist. By then, you'll be different. By then, you'll have grown so much that his missing won't even matter. See, the pain of neglect changes you. The heartbreak of being taken for granted forces you to look inward, to rebuild yourself from the ground up. And when you start rebuilding, you discover strength you never knew you had. You discover peace in your own company. You discover power in your silence. So when he finally wakes up, when he finally says, I miss her, I need her, I want her back, you'll look at him and realize you no longer need what you used to beg for. You no longer crave the crumbs that once kept you starving. You no longer want what broke you, because you've learned to feed yourself, to love yourself, to heal yourself. His missing comes too late. And let me be clear, he will miss you. He will remember the way you loved him, the way you stood by him, the way you poured into him when no one else would. He will remember the comfort of your presence, the security of your loyalty, the consistency of your effort. And when he looks around and realizes he can't find that anywhere else, regret will settle in. But regret is not love. Regret is not enough. And you will have already learned that your value is too high to be paid in regret. By the time he misses you, You won't even be interested in what he's offering, because your standards will have risen far above it. This is why growth is so powerful. When you shift your focus inward, when you protect your energy, when you demand respect, when you rise higher, you don't just change your circumstances, you change your appetite. The things you once accepted no longer satisfy you. The people you once chased no longer impress you. And when he comes knocking, when he finally realizes what he lost, you'll see him for what he is. A chapter that taught you a lesson, not a future that deserves your return. You'll realize that what once broke you built you, and now you're unshakable. By the time he misses you, you'll be busy, busy living, busy thriving, busy becoming. You won't be sitting by the phone waiting for his call. You'll be too busy answering the call of your own purpose. You won't be scrolling his page wondering if he thinks about you. You'll be too busy traveling, creating, laughing, building, loving yourself in ways he never did. His missing won't even register as significant, because your life will be so full that you'll wonder how you ever made space for his emptiness. That's the beauty of healing. It makes what once hurt you look small compared to what you've grown into. So don't sit around wondering when he'll miss you. Don't waste your life counting the days until regret finally finds him, because the truth is, when it does, it won't matter anymore. By the time he misses you, you won't care. Not out of bitterness, not out of anger, but out of growth. You won't care because you've outgrown the version of yourself that once waited for him. You won't care because your life is too beautiful, too full, too purposeful to look back. And when that day comes, you won't feel sorrow. You'll feel gratitude. Gratitude that you walked away. Gratitude that you grew. Gratitude that you chose yourself. So stop asking, when will he miss me? That's not the question. The real question is, when will I stop waiting and start living? When will I stop chasing and start choosing myself? Because the moment you do, everything shifts. The truth is, yes, he will miss you. He will remember your love, your presence, your consistency. But by then, you'll be too far ahead. By then, you'll be stronger, wiser, fuller. By then, you'll have discovered the beauty of becoming whole on your own. So don't measure your life by his recognition. Don't measure your worth by his regret. Measure it by the way you rise, the way you heal, the way you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. Because in the end, it's not about how long it takes for him to miss you. It's about how quickly you decide to stop missing yourself. And when that day comes, when you finally choose you, there will be no looking back.